Hello everyone, and welcome to another very beautiful, and not just beautiful but a very interesting chess game of Paul Morphy, because in this chess game Paul Morphy made some very important blunders. Actually, he only made one very important blunder, but that blunder was simply epic and unbelievable. And in this game, Paul Morphy is playing with the black pieces, and his opponent is John William Schulten, who is playing with the white pieces. So Schulten starts the game with playing e4, e5, f4, King's Gambit once again. And once again, Paul Morphy is accepting the challenge. E takes on f4, bishop to c4, d5, bishop takes on d5, knight to f6, knight to c3, bishop to b4, knight from g to e2, and Paul Morphy captures the knight with the bishop. Bishop takes on c3, b takes on c3, knight takes on d5, e takes on d5. And instead of capturing the pawn, Paul Morphy played queen to h4, check, king to f1, and then Paul Morphy played f3, knight to g3, f takes on g2, king takes on g2, but then bishop to h3 by Paul Morphy, king to f2, and now Paul Morphy castled. Queen to h5, and Schulten wants to exchange the queens, but Paul Morphy is declining the offer. Paul Morphy played queen to f4, check, queen to f3, queen to h4, d4, f5, bishop to a3 attacking the rook, rook to f7, but then rook from h to e1 threatening to play rook to e8. So Paul Morphy simply played knight to d7, queen to h5, and Schulten once again is insisting on exchanging the queens. And also on the other hand, Paul Morphy is also insisting not to exchange the queens. Paul Morphy played queen to f4, queen to f3, offering the queen, but then Paul Morphy played queen to d2, check, rook to e2, queen to g5, rook from a to e1, knight to f6, rook to e7, f4, attacking the knight, knight to f1. And can you guess the next move of Paul Morphy? Paul Morphy played a very beautiful move. What would you do in this position if you had the black pieces? And Paul Morphy played knight to g4, that's check. And in this position, John William Schulten played king to e2. And then rook takes on e7. And what happens if white plays king to g1? Then knight to e5, king to f2. Well, knight to e5 was a discover attack to the king. So king to f2, and then knight takes, queen on f3, rook to e8, rook to f8, rook takes rook, rook takes rook. And if bishop takes rook, then queen to g2, checkmate. So after knight to g4, Schulten played king to e2, and then Paul Morphy captures on e7. Bishop takes on e7, but then queen takes on e7. That's check. And Paul Morphy is a piece up, and white can resign in this position. But Schulten didn't resign, and he played king to d2, queen to h4, queen takes on f4, rook to f8, queen to g3. And once again, Schulten is insisting on exchanging the queens. This must be so frustrating for white, and Paul Morphy is again declining the offer. But actually black can simply exchange the queen, and then black is doing a very good job because black is a piece up. But Paul Morphy didn't want to exchange the queens, and Paul Morphy played queen to h6, check, blocking with the knight. Knight takes on e3. So Paul Morphy wants to simplify the game. Rook takes on e3. And here comes the epic moment of the game. Paul Morphy made a fantastic, epic blunder. And at first, when I was analyzing this game, I just couldn't believe it in my eyes. I simply couldn't believe it in my own eyes when I first saw that move. So the brilliant, great, genius Paul Morphy made a very bad blunder. So we can easily say that Paul Morphy is human after all. So maybe he was sick, he was ill, he was having some maybe health problems. Maybe he was dizzy, or maybe he was tired because of Schulten's very bad blunders. But Paul Morphy played rook to e8, believe it or not. And can you see the blunder? Well, the bishop is hanging. Paul Morphy forgot about his bishop. But Schulten played c4. Another very funny move by John William Schulten. He also made a blunder. So why Schulten didn't capture the bishop? I don't know. So queen takes on e3, queen takes queen, rook takes queen, king takes on e3. And everything is about equal, and also white has two connected pawns, dangerous pawns. Maybe we should say white has the advantage, unbelievable. Schulten missed the opportunity, and John William Schulten played c4, unbelievable. And then Paul Morphy realized the blunder, and he played bishop to f1, saving the bishop, and it's too late for Schulten. c5, bishop to c4, d6, c takes on d6, pawn takes pawn, rook takes on e3, queen takes on e3, queen takes queen, king takes on e3, and then king to f7. And Schulten resigned. What a disastrous game for John William Schulten. And black is going to collect this pawn also. White can't promote this pawn to a queen because black king is too close for defending the threat. And also black has the bishop, so this is all over for John William Schulten. So rook to e8 was a horrible blunder by Paul Morphy. And it's also interesting to see how Paul Morphy can sometimes play very, very bad moves. But this only happens very rarely. So Paul Morphy most of the time plays the most accurate moves possible. So this very bad move doesn't change the fact that Paul Morphy was one of the best, one of the greatest chess players of all times. So it happens to everyone. So after king to f7, Schulten resigned. And I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. And I hope to see you next time. Take care.